It's now time for the big story. And as I've been saying all morning, if the general elections were being held today in Jamaica, it would be a very, very close call. As a matter of fact, the nationwide Blue Dot polls are suggesting that it's a statistical dead heat as far as party standings is concerned, which means, based on what we are gleaning, that the JLP support stands at 31% and the People's National Party support stands at 28%. However, there is something called the margin of error, which in this instance could be plus or minus 3%. Having factored that in, you see what we're talking about. It looks more like it would be a statistical dead heat. It looks also, from a further observation, like the PNP has moved from 25% to 28% in terms of overall support, whilst the JLP would have moved from 30% to 31%, as at, of course, based on the polls that were done in 2003. I believe it was November. And so joining me this morning is well-known political commentator Kevin Chang. Morning to you, Kevin.
Morning, Richie.
Thank you for joining me again.
Thanks for having me, man.
All right. When you send me the bill, I don't know how the hell I'm going to pay to Kevin.
Free ad.
All right.
I'll get the free ad, Richie.
Okay. And Shaka, you're also building quite a bill yourself. I don't know how I'm going to manage it, brother.
Morning, Richard. Morning to all your listeners.
Morning, Colin Bell. Shaka fame, we call him out of Portland. He's from the People's...
I love to have money in the back, you know. So.
God help me. But I want to thank you both. A few times now we've had both of you together on the program at the same time. You don't always agree, but we know that you're always honest. Shaka, it looks like there is a bit of a momentum happening in the People's National Party, moving from 25% to 28% in terms of overall support. Are you surprised, and what is your reaction to that information?
I'm not surprised, Richie, because I know the wind is at our back right now, and therefore I strongly believe, though, that the PNP is really leading in terms of what the poll came out with. My question to the poll is, the first set of numbers from that poll says that 44% of the country believes that the country is going in the wrong direction, and 27% believe that the country is going in the right direction. Now you tell me how you have 44% of people you poll saying that the country is going in the wrong direction, but then you come out in terms of an election, it's called now the JLP have a 2 or 3% lead, even though within the margin of error. I don't buy into that, Richie, because we are also on the ground, and there are also other polls that are showing different numbers, and the numbers that the other polls are showing are in line with the 44% saying the country is going in the wrong direction. So we are very upbeat. We know that as I said, the wind is at our back. There are a lot of things that are happening. We had a Hurricane Beryl that the government did not deal with in an efficient way. We now have the Integrity Commission report that is putting the head of the country in a very bad light, and some damning accusation by the Director of Investigation has been made. So even if that poll is right at the time it was done, because a poll is a snapshot of the time that it was done, even if it is right, I am sure that the PNP is way ahead now.
But I want to stick with you a little bit longer before I bring in Kevin. Shaka, that 44% that you say believe that the country is going in the wrong direction, does that automatically mean that those are persons who would also prefer to see the back of the JLP and welcome the PNP?
But Richie, let's look at it rationally. Mm-hmm. If you say that you are taking me in the wrong direction, why would I want to go with you for another 4 or 5 years? And I admit that where you're taking me is wrong. So somebody maybe Kevin can explain how that worked to me.
Well, it's a good time for me to bring Kevin in on this conversation. Kevin, did the pollsters get it wrong based on what you're picking up on the ground?
First of all, Richard, let me just say one thing. I am not a party person. I don't belong to the JLP or the PNP. So my analysis is not going to be political. Okay?
Yes.
I strictly look on the numbers I see and what I see out there. It's statistically close. I'm not going to question the numbers. These are the latest poll numbers we have. I'm not going to extrapolate anything. And it's good for a country to have a close election, you know. Generally, I don't like one-sided elections. You want fairly, fair, equal a number of seats, fairly equal. I mean, it's not going to be equal because one has to have more. Because then that means the government will have to work harder. And I see no reason to question the numbers at the moment. It is what it is. And the wrong direction thing, if you look at the U.S., for example, the U.S. is like 60%. That people saying it's in the wrong direction, and yet the Democrats are slightly favored to win the presidential election. If you look all across the world, I don't think there's very many countries where people say the country is going in the right direction. For whatever reason it is, if you have a negative view of politics in general, almost every country. Perhaps because of the social media, which tends to be focused on the negative side of things. But that 44% actually, Jamaica in the wrong direction is a lot better than the U.S. 60-something%, and the Democrats are still ahead there. Mm-hmm. So that number really doesn't mean that much in terms of when you look globally. The one thing I will say is that crime was seen as the major issue and as the biggest failing of the Holness administration. And yet, if you look at the reality, murders are down 17% this year. In fact, based on the first 9 months of this year, if you extrapolate those 9 months, it's hardly likely to change the rate. Murders will be a 10-year low, lowest murder count since 2014. So that is one of the things that struck me, that the public has it totally wrong about the murders. And that was the Holness administration's biggest failure, they say. If you were to look at the numbers, it wouldn't be a failure. So that is very interesting to look at.
All right. Shaka, the whole matter of leadership, party leadership, definitely comes into play. Do you think that your party leader has made the kinds of progress in terms of national support? Are you comfortable with the level of support that he's getting right now? And how might the PNP capitalize on what is seen as the sort of stagnant JLP position, only moving up 1% over the last poll to now 3% for the PNP? Your views?
Richie, we have a very new leader in Mark Jefferson Colin. He's not a career politician. He's a career businessman who comes into the politics and is doing very well. He has been on the road, getting acquainted with the people, and the Jamaican people are now getting to know who Mark Colin is. And the fact that they are getting to know who Mark Colin is, you see his number climbing. And the fact that his numbers are climbing to what we at one point thought was the most popular politician in Jamaica is now declining, and have serious clouds over his head, Richie. And therefore, the JLP will not be able to go into an election competing with our leader, because our leader has clean hands, pure heart, and his integrity commission filing has been certified. In the last poll, Richie, that was commissioned by the People's National Party, and Dan Anderson was the one who did that poll. The question was asked, if a politician integrity commission filing is not certified, should he run? And 80% of the respondents said no. So any politician whose statutory filing has not been certified by the integrity commission should not be on a ballot. So therefore, my leader and the People's National Party leader, Mark Jefferson Colin, is in good stead, and his numbers are climbing constantly. the people of Jamaica are now knowing that here is a man who is not coming to scrape, who is coming to give service to the country of Jamaica. Because, Richie, and I'm saying this publicly, and this is not a position of the PNP. I'm a party man. Let me say that clear. I am a party man. I'm not hiding behind no cloud. I am a party man. The Prime Minister, Richie, of a country, or the President of a country, should not be doing so much personal business while in office. The Prime Minister of a country or the President should not be buying stocks and bonds competing with me and you, Richie.
You don't think
Therefore, and that is why, let me just make the final point, that is why P.J. Patterson said that the Prime Minister, when he retires, should get the same salary. Because while being Prime Minister, you should not be juggling and hustling. So when you come out of government or when you retire from being Prime Minister, he don't expect you to have this whack of money because you did a hustle. So therefore, that is why he said that your pension coming out as Prime Minister should be the same.
And you're talking about even if they're still managing to do all of that whilst managing the economy well?
It should not be happening, Richie, because all men are not equal. If you are Prime Minister, you are going to get preferential treatment everywhere you go. That's just how it is. It's not about Andrew Wilness or it's about any Prime Minister. The word Prime Minister by itself is intimidating. So when the Prime Minister picks up the phone and call a bank, he's going to get quicker access than you, Richie, than me, than Kevin. So it shouldn't happen. So if it is legal now in Jamaica for the Prime Minister to be doing all that business, that must change going forward.
Kevin, as far as the polls are concerned, we see where Prime Minister Holness is obviously putting up, quote unquote, a fight, meaning he's got more females, apparently based on this poll, in his support, and his job approval rating seems to be still fairly high. Does that surprise you?
Why, well, Richie, when you elect a Prime Minister, what do you elect a Prime Minister to do? Improve the quality of your life, right?
Yes.
If you look at all the major indices since Andrew Holness came to power 2016, they are all positive. The unemployment rate is at a record low. And let me say again, these are facts. I'm not giving an opinion here. These are numbers and nobody can check them. The unemployment rate is at a record low, down like from 12% or so to 4 or 5% now. The debt to GDP ratio is down from about 120% to 70%. Murders are down. If you look at the extrapolate this year to they're lower than when they came to power. The minimum wage is at a record high, and even the corruption index. The only facts we have, people can speculate, but the Transparency International is the only fact we have to compare objectively. And anybody can say people are corrupt, but what do the facts say? And that's what it's gone from, I think, 40 when they came into power to 44. So every major indices is up, means the quality of life has improved by the numbers. And, there's a famous saying, it's easy to lie with numbers, but it's much easier to lie without them. So people can say this, they can say that. The numbers are unequivocal. So if you look at that, I elected a Prime Minister to make the quality of my life better. And my quality of life is better. So why shouldn't I elect him? That's clearly what the people who are in favor of Andrew Holness are saying. And those are the facts on the ground. But I want to make a point about that,
yes.
That corrupt the commission report. Mm-hmm. How much do you think Andrew Holness is worth, Richie?
Worth?
Because in the report. How much million you think Andrew Holness is worth? It's a number.
I don't remember the number offhand, but it was a few hundred thousand, I think.
200 million Jamaican. It is 1.3 million US.
Mm-hmm.
They show the increase of his income over the 2-3 years was 4,000 US. So they're saying Andrew Holness is stealing money. The facts don't show that whatsoever. His net worth went up like 4,600 US over 3 years. His net worth is 1.3 million. And the point about politicians having business, every politician which has to have a business on the side or a source of income, or you can get voted out tomorrow. If you are a politician, it's a very precarious profession, you know. So I can guarantee you every single, unless you're born rich or have, you know, people, some are born rich and some have, you know, business interests and all that. If you're not born rich, like Mr. Golding, you have to have a business on the side. Otherwise, you get voted out, you starve. So the argument that a politician, if they're in office, they shouldn't have any business going on. What happens if Andrew Holness gets voted out? What does he live off? And I guess there's a pension. But everybody has to have one. Because you have many politicians that get voted out, and they've got to go back, and you think you can go to somebody and say, I have a former politician, please give me some money. I go to the supermarket and say, I'm a former politician, can I get groceries for free? No.
All right.
So the reality is, that's the reality of the world, all over the world, I mean, of Jamaica. And I doubt there's any prime minister who's ever not had some kind of business dealings and stuff, so that if they get voted out, they will have money. It's just a reality of life. I don't know what people expect people to live off in politics if they get voted out.
All right, Kevin, thank you for that. Well, I did say at the beginning that yourself and Colin Bell don't always agree. I wanted to get...
Just remember, I'm not speaking for the party.
I understand that. I wanted to get another part of the equation in before we run out of time totally. Shaka, the element of undecided votes is always a big issue. How do you think the PNP going forward might want to tap in and win over some of these undecided voters?
All right, Richie, quickly. I didn't say politicians shouldn't have any other business. I said the Prime Minister. 1. 2, in 2015, Jamaicans on average was earning about 6,500 US a year. Right now, we are earning less than 6,000 US a year.
No, totally wrong. Sorry,
Kevin, I don't talk when you're talking, you know. I never talk when you're talking. My mother told me that when somebody's talking, you should not speak respectfully. Right? So, Richie, also, let's look at transportation, which is one of the vital things in any country for dealing with production. In 2016, we were rolling out 460 JUTC buses. Right now, we are rolling out 270. That is bad. In 2016, Richie, electricity was $23 per kilowatt hour to 23 cents US per kilowatt hour to 50 cents per kilowatt hour now. Richie, in 2016, what 15,000 could buy, 30,000 can't buy today. So people's lives are not better. When we talk about the undecided voters, the People's National Party, we are saying to you that we are going to be strengthening education. We are going to be strengthening health care, doing better with your health care, because you see the United States put out travel advisory on Jamaica that people should not travel to Jamaica because our health care is lacking. That also give the U.S. reprieve when a man fell at the Donald Sangster International Airport and we couldn't get an ambulance to move the man in quick time. So that also put a big damper against us. We are going to fix those things, Richie. We are going to invest heavily in the orange economy, the culture and the creative industry, because that industry, Richie, is the industry that will be able to move Jamaican economy around, that we can grow by the 5 and the 6% that we all aim for. Because in the culture and the creative industry, Richie, there's a possibility that Jamaica can earn 1% of that industry. That industry is valued at the industry is valued at $3 trillion US on the global market. Presently, Jamaica is making less than 0.1%. We are going to drive that to 1%. 1% of that is $30 billion US annually. Those are some of the things that we are going to be pushing forward. We are going to be ensuring that agriculture gets prime place in our budget to ensure that food security is taken care of in Jamaica. So we are saying to the undecided voters, look at the People's National Party. Look at our leader. Our leader, statutory filing, has been certified every time since he has been in the politics. And the Constitution of Jamaica, Richie, says that when the statutory filing of the Prime Minister and the leader of opposition is certified, a summary must be made public. For the last 3 years, we have not been able to see that summary of Andrew Holness statutory filing.
Right.
So this is untenable.
All right. Thank you, Shaka. I know that Kevin took issue with one or two things that you
statistics.
Yes.
I'm looking at statistics on the website right now.
Mm-hmm.
2015, per capita income Jamaica 5,200, right?
Yes.
2024, 7,300. It is about 35% higher and this is real numbers, accounting for inflation and everything in real dollars.
Anybody can go check those numbers and see them.
The numbers are on the internet, so you can look at World Bank numbers. I don't look at my numbers. I give you the facts. And this is what you can see on the World Bank side too. That the per capita GDP is roughly 35% higher in 2024 expected to be at the end than it was in 2015. Those are the facts.
Kevin, I have 30 seconds. Can the JLP regain the momentum between now and the election?
Well, Richie, if people say you're failing on crime, and crime is actually down at a 10-year low, clearly all you have to do is inform the public of the facts. I mean, if the public doesn't know the reality, so you put a campaign and get the facts out to them, and then they can't say you failed on crime if it's a 10-year low, when it's lower when you came to power. It's just not logical, is it? But the public is not aware because the media is not putting out the numbers on crime. You don't see the media putting out. When crime was going, you saw front page headlines every day, the number count. Crime out of control. Now they're still saying crime out of control. When murders are down at a 10-year low, that's totally illogical. The people just don't know the facts. It's for the jail people to tell the people the facts.
Got you. Kevin and Colin, thank you both very much. We're out of time. There's much more that we wanted to get covered, but we'll talk again sometime. Have a good day.
All right, Kevin, cool.
All right, take care. Bye-bye.